Welcome back. I wanted to talk today about David Gravel's big achievement over the last weekend it was at the Kings Royal, where he got the win and completed the Sprint Car Triple Crown. Now, when you think of Triple Crown in racing, everybody I feel like mostly thinks of USAC winning both or all three of the Midget, Silver Crown, and the non-wing Sprint Car title in the same, or not in the same year, but in their career. That means they won the Triple Crown with USAC. When it comes to wing Sprint Car racing, the Triple Crown are the three big races, right? The three crown jewel events, that being the Williams Grove National Open, the Knoxville Nationals at Knoxville Raceway, and the Kings Royal at Eldora Speedway. Now, in the history of 410 sprint car racing, only 6 drivers have ever been able to win those 3 races in their career, and David Gravel has joined them. So Gravel is the 6th driver to ever do it, and as you can see at the top of the board, it took him only 10 years to complete the Triple Crown, which I feel like is pretty good. There's a lot of drivers that right now that are very close to completing that. 2 that come to mind, Brad Sweet, Kyle Larson. They've won both the Kings Royal and the Knoxville Nationals. They've never been able to win the National Open. So they are probably the 2 closest to, getting the Triple Crown completed. I would say the other one is Brent Marks. He has the National Open and the Kings Royal. He does not have the Knoxville Nationals. So we could do another video about that, about drivers who are close as far as active drivers right now, or guys that have retired that were able to win 2 of the 3. That's a video for another day. But I wanted to talk about Gravel and look back through his time as a driver and talk about when he was able to win these crown jewel events, who he won them with, any certain storylines or whatever that happened during those races. And I thought it'd be an interesting video to look that, every 5 years, ever since he won that first one in 2014, every 5 years, David Gravel has won a crown jewel event. So the first one came in 2014 at the Williams Grove National Open. His car owner that year was the 83 car, Dennis Roth, the Roth Motorsports number 83. Before he had gotten the win, he had taken 5 attempts to get the win, right? So ever since 2010, he was running at the Williams Grove National Open. He got the win in his 5th attempt. He had missed the show 2 different times. He only had 3 A-main event starts in the National Open feature before he was able to get the victory. And before that, including those 3 A-main wins, he had 3 different car owners to get himself into victory lane. I believe one of the car owners was his own family-owned 89 machine, and the other one, I believe, was Bill Rosa's 6 car until he got into the Roth Motorsports 83 and got the win. His best run before getting the win at the National Open was an 8th place result. That was in 2013. And the win in 2014 did not come without a little bit of controversy. If you're a sprint car fan, if you've been a sprint car fan for a long time, you know about the contact between himself and Stevie Smith with a handful of laps to go that led David Gravel to getting the win. So he led 35 laps. Stevie Smith had gotten by him midway through the race, led about 5 or so laps. Gravel goes into turn 1, gets into the back of him, spins him around. Stevie Smith would go on to finish in the 9th position, and Gravel would go on to win. So it did come with a little bit of controversy, but nonetheless, he is a National Open champion. And whenever he shows up to the Grove now, I have seen it firsthand. If he gets announced, he is getting booed by the PA Posse fans. 2019, he was able to get the Knoxville Nationals. So 5 years after the National Open win, he got the Knoxville Nationals victory. This was a different car owner. He did it in the Jason Johnson Racing number 41. And unlike the National Open, it took him a whole lot longer to win the Nationals. He had 10 attempts since 2010. So his first National Open was 2010. His first Knoxville Nationals was 2010. But it took him 10 attempts and 8 main events later, right? So he had missed the show a couple of times in there. I think the first 2 races, or the first 2 times he went to the Nationals, he did not make the show. He had 6 different car owners before he had made his way into Knoxville Nationals victory lane. The Bill Rose car, the Gravel-owned, family-owned car, the CJB car, the Mondak Portables, the Destiny Motorsports car. I'm missing 2 in there. I can't think of them off the top of my head right now. But he definitely went through his fair share of car owners before he was a Nationals winner. He had 3 prelim feature wins at the Knoxville Nationals before he was able to get the Saturday night victory. So he had definitely been close in the past. He had shown the speed to do it. But then if you look at his best finish before he got the win, and that's what's most impressive to me about the Nationals win, he was never really, I guess, close to, he was never on the podium before he had won this race. His best run was a 10th place finish in 2016, and in 2018. But in 2017, he did lead 22 laps of the Nationals feature event, driving the CJB Motorsports number 5 car. He blew up an engine with, halfway through the race. So David Gravel, maybe that he could have gotten that win in 2017, but obviously did not work out for him. He blew an engine after leading 22 laps of the feature and would bow out of the race early. So then, that was 2019. 5 years later, he's able to get the win at the Kings Royal, the one that had been eluding him for a very long time, obviously doing it in the Big Game Motorsports number 2 car. 16 attempts at the Kings Royal, and this one's a little bit different, right? So at the National Open, at the Knoxville Nationals, he had two main events where he did not make the show, right? That's not the case at the Kings Royal. He had 4 times where he did not make the show. His first ever Kings Royal was actually before these 2 races. 2009 was his first Kings Royal try. He had 6 different car owners in that time as well. His best finish before that victory was a 3rd place finish in 2014 and in 2023. His closest, chance to a win before that was in 2014, where he led 10 laps in the main event. So David Gravel, so no doubt about it, certainly a first ballot Hall of Famer whenever he decides to retire. A Triple Crown winner. He has 99 career World of Outlaws wins at the time of this recording. Today is July 25th, 2024. So if you're watching this 10 years into the future, and David Gravel probably already is in the Hall of Fame if he's not retired by then. So Gravel, it's impressive what he's been able to do. Love him or hate him, there's no doubt that he is a very, very good driver. And people are saying that, he's only good because of Cody Jacobs, right? But what about here? What about here? He didn't have Cody Jacobs back then, right? So David Gravel, definitely a very, very good driver and closing in on 100 wins. I thought he was going to get one last night at BAPS with the Outlaws, came up 1 spot short in that one. But I also wanted to talk about this, right? So we talked about the 6 drivers. There's 6 drivers that have ever been able to accomplish this feat of winning all 3 Crown Jewel events. The first one, not the first one, but the guy who did it in the quickest amount of time, only 6 years it took for Mark Kinzer to get all 3 of these wins. He won the National Open in 1995, the Knoxville Nationals in 96, and the Kings Royal in 2001. So Mark Kinzer, the fastest driver to ever complete the Triple Crown at 6 years. Donnie Schatz is second on this list. He got the National Open win first in 2000, the Knoxville Nationals in 2006, and the Kings Royal in 2007. The next fastest was Doug Wolfgang at 8 years. He got the Nationals win in 1977, the National Open in 1984, and the Kings Royal in 1985. Then it was Steve Kinzer. He's actually tied with David Gravel for 10 years. Kinzer's first one was in 1980. He got the Knoxville Nationals win. And then in 1984, the Kings Royal. And in 1990, the National Open. And as we just mentioned with David Gravel, 2014, 2019, and 2024. And then Sammy Swindell is the other guy that has done the Triple Crown. He did it in 14 years. His first one was the Knoxville Nationals in 1983, the Kings Royal in 1992, and the National Open in 1997. So, just a little bit of history there for you. Some names you probably weren't expecting to hear on the board today. But David Gravel joins them. He joins the greatest drivers of all time as a Triple Crown champion in sprint car racing, and he is well on his way now to probably being the 2024 champion with the World of Outlaws. So Gravel's got a pretty healthy point advantage. He's got a very healthy advantage when it comes to the money earned in 2024 so far in sprint car racing. That helped with a $300,000 week between Eldora and Attica. So Gravel is doing great things. He is certainly a first ballot Hall of Famer, and he's still got a long ways to go, man. I think he's only in his low 30s, so he's still got a lot of time to be winning races and winning a lot of money and doing incredible things in the sport. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this video, a little bit of history here, and sometimes we like to have some history videos on the channel. We'll talk to you again here very soon. We got some more stuff coming out later on this week. Make sure to hit subscribe, comment down below, hit the like button. Appreciate all of your guys' support. Thank you to all my channel members as well, and we'll talk to you again soon.